What is up, guys? Colin, aka Connor Brancho, bringing to you a Scott the Woz reaction. Today, we are doing Game Stores by Scott the Woz. My first one I did on Black Friday was pretty good, so let's do this. And I've been watching some of them on my own, but let's do this one right now. In 3, 2, 1, play. What's up, Scott? How you doing?
Relax, get your heart rate questionably low, because today, I'm going to be showing you what happens when drywall and video games come together. Video games are pretty cool.
For
they
real.
got polygons and they were a waste of $40. But you see, they require hardware, electricity, space, wasting $40, and when you have a lot of physical video games and consoles, you need walls. The game room is a concept I've fallen in love with. I've always been big into the whole man cave thing. As a kid, whenever I'd go over to somebody's house and it had a basement filled with a bar and a pool table and all that useless garbage they probably never used,
That's awesome, though. That's
like
awesome.
That would have been awesome. I wanted a downstairs susceptible to flooding too. I never had a basement.
It's
but
pretty
I've always
awesome.
Wanted and still really want one. No, nice.
That's my basement right there. That's my basement. All we have is broken up ground of water heater. That's basically the main attraction. We don't have much of a basement, if you ask me.
You have to make do with what you got. So years ago, I took my bedroom and turned it into a makeshift game room, studio, living room, office. You can't really have a game
that's what he has right now.
Amassing a cornucopia of games and systems. And prior to 2013, I would constantly do the unthinkable and sell the games I wasn't playing anymore. Just add me to the list already. This was my setup in 2011. Nothing screams I'm 14.
He was young then. He didn't have glasses back then.
I was interested in collecting games and the history of the medium in general. But of course, when you're that young, you kind of have to sell games so you can get new ones. And the only game store I could really do that at was GameStop. Because of that,
that's where I go to get my games.
Consistently.
Actually, not anymore, because I have an Xbox, so I just download them. I don't do that. For my Wii U, I did that.
Now 2013 comes
and my
around
Wii.
with me being able to drive myself
Before I had my
and having
Wii
an
U.
actual job. I could start collecting video games.
What in 2013?
What would be my game room. I wanted a room friends could walk into and see so many games spanning so many
I like those people.
play together. I wanted a cool
those people. In fact, my cousins have that. Because my youngest cousin is he's a gamer. He has that thing. I mean, he has a cabinet.
Was what I wanted back in June of 2013, and that was the time I started working towards building a game room. And a full 6 months later. This was after I started? I think I had some NES and SNES games somewhere else. In this later picture, I moved them all to the bottom of this bookshelf. I'm sure you can tell where my hatred for Platinum Hits and Player's Choice started. And what better 3 titles to start rebuilding my GameCube collection with than Mario Golf, WarioWare, and Wave Race? Yeah, only the necessities.
Yeah. Seems like pretty modern games if you ask me.
I have the system. I had games for it back then. Where were they? Back then, the consoles I had set up were a Wii U, Xbox 360, and Retron 3.
I have an Xbox One right now. I have a Wii U, Xbox One, but I only use the Xbox.
Fair, it did the job. I think for me back then, and for budding collectors, it's a cheap and efficient way to play the original cartridges. I also kept all my boxes for everything. Game consoles, accessories, electronics, everything. I just kind of piled them up in the corner. I was worried people wouldn't think I didn't mean business if they didn't see my iPhone 4 box. Over the next few months, I kept on buying more and more stuff.
But why would they want to see your old iPhone box, though?
I had to get serious. I bought a cheap media shelf. I have a love-hate relationship with these. They're called Atlantic media shelves. I'd say if you're just starting to collect,
should I get one of those?
Put games on. They look
nice. I don't have that many games.
But the problem is, they're cheap. They just never felt sturdy enough, really. I was always kind of concerned they'd fall over or break or something. I think the most impressive collection increase at this time was the GameCube for me. I amassed some good stuff by this.
Yeah, that was pretty popular back in like 2004.
Again, only the necessities. I loved building the 360 and original Xbox collections. And this was right smack in the middle of the Wii U era, so I picked a few releases as they came out alongside filling out my Wii library with the must-have games I didn't own already. A few months later, it got to the point where I had to get even more serious. I bought another cheap media shelf. This was a setup I could get behind.
Yeah, because you're a gamer, aren't you?
TV and game consoles? Sure, this bookshelf never really screamed, put an Xbox in me, but it did the job. The classic and
that's kind of what they're screaming if they could talk.
I printed these off and spanked them on with Scotch tape. Yeah, that didn't work.
Bruh, those are old-fashioned. Nobody has those cassette put-ins. Nobody has those anymore.
A lot more NES games, and my Game Boy collection was sitting peacefully in shambles on a single shelf. This setup was great.
Get rid of it.
How I beat Mega Man 2, the way I set up my original PS4 for the first time. I hated it. I changed it half a year later.
Yeah, PS4
Welcome to the Butte Entertainment Center. This was perfect for housing systems, and it looked nice. Yeah, but that meant I had to move the shelves over to the right side of the room. Which, hey, if you've seen this room, you know the iconic wall
What's up,
sleeve.
Scott?
That made putting shelves against it difficult, but it worked in the
Yeah.
end. Eventually,
First thing you gotta do is
bookshelf
see
that
like
was
how much room
stomping
you
grounds
how much
for my
room you
consoles,
have
and use
in
it
your
for my overflow
area.
games and Time Crisis 3. I bought a third cheap media shelf. Oh, hey, Call of Duty Black Ops.
Of course you did.
I eventually did a full-blown switch.
Just be glad it was
Move
cheap.
the TV where the shelves were, move the shelves where the TV was. Oh, I bought a fourth cheap media shelf.
Oh,
It was then a
yeah,
design to
I should
forego the
expect
cheap
that.
media shelf lifestyle and enter the realm of Sweden. IKEA is not only the
IKEA.
best place to buy
I've
furniture, it's the
I've
best
never been there,
place.
but I mean I live by one. Like I drive by it a
I
lot.
upgraded to a good
Go
few
to go to my
IKEA
grandparents'
bookcases,
house.
and there's
But
not much
I've
an
been
IKEA
there.
Billy bookcase can't do. I wanted these because they were way sturdier, plus being much deeper allowed for more
But then
things
again,
to fit in
the
them. The old
more
shelves were
sturdy
about
and the
as
more
deep as a standard
expensive.
DVD case. Some things just couldn't fit on them. Problem was, I
Is
had
that
to
one of his
stack
earlier
through
videos?
these bookcases. It made things crazy tall. I wouldn't recommend this, but it was all I could have done concerning the amount of games I had and the space I had to work with. Overall,
You're still that way, aren't you?
Where I spent a good chunk of my childhood, and I definitely transformed it into my own little Virgin Circus. But it was obvious I was outgrowing it.
Did you say
I barely
Virgin
had any
Circus?
room anymore. My
What?
computer desk was right smack in front of
What
my
did you say?
NES games. That's no way to store ranking. I needed a room specifically
No.
for the games, a room just for the console setup, and a room to just go to sleep. Sleeping in the same room, you play Devil's Third, and really does something to you. After a certain happened, I moved into my own
How do
apartment.
you?
and thus we have
His house
BAM.
his house burned down. That's pretty bad.
For games? This is my current game room.
It's pretty
and I'm
bad.
pretty
His
happy with
house actually
everything
burned
as it is.
down.
There's not like a ton of room for expansion, but I can definitely make things work if I need more space. But of course, we gotta start here. I have all the main game consoles.
I love
consistently
those.
play in the
I
living
mean, I
room.
have one right
I've
now,
upgraded the
Xbox
TV
One.
stand to this.
I'm
It looks the
right next
original
to
one
it.
I use, but has more of these shelves for consoles. I really like the style of TV.
I'm
stand
glad I
because
moved
it's
rooms,
one
'cause
section
this is
to
a-
feed wires through.
this is a good
See,
place
that's one of
to
my least favorite
film.
things about setups. I look slightly behind the TV stand and it's terrifying. I went for more of a wood look compared to the black coat of paint of my old one because, well, I think the black look.
That's kinda what I have right now,
rich,
except
just like
it's not that
freezing.
big.
This style hides imperfections much better in my opinion. I mainly keep consoles that I use a lot hooked up at all times. Of course, systems like the PS3, 360, OG Xbox, N64, and GameCube are plugged into the dreaded.
Yeah, you have 5 game systems? Bruh, you're...
Play any of these systems of Doom.
You can't be...
Keep them out
You
here
can't
because
say
the systems
everything's
I have a lot of
cheap.
games
The
for,
shelves
but
are
don't
cheap.
blame
You're
them
rich if you can
for
buy
the
5,
hazard that I
and
already
the
have by
GameCube,
leaving
that must
it
cost a
plugged in all
bunch
the
of
time.
money.
PS4, Xbox One, Wii U,
Yeah,
and
he
Switch
must be
are always
freaking
plugged
rich.
in just because
Of course he
I
is,
play
he's a
them the
YouTuber.
most. Of course you may go, wait, you keep the Wii U plugged in? Yeah, I hate me too for saying I still use the Wii U frequently, but it's my way of playing a ton of generations of Nintendo games. I play Wii U, Wii, and Virtual Console games on this thing. Until the
See
Switch
here?
gets all or
Here's
a
my
good chunk
Wii
of
U.
that stuff,
I don't
I'm
use it
leaving this
anymore.
plugged in, unfortunately. But what about the Xbox One? Do I use that frequently?
I have an
No,
I have an
but all
Xbox
these
One
systems
S.
were kind of made with the intention of being left plugged in. I mean, the PS4 screams at you if you unplug it in properly, so I'll just do what it tells me. I know probably all systems are made.
I don't have that problem, though.
But stuff like the Switch
Actually,
just
for
goes into
Fortnite,
sleep
though.
mode, PS4
Sometimes.
has rest mode, and these guys are the most modern consoles, so all that adds up to me just leaving these plugged in. I use the Super Retro Trio Plus for playing Genesis, NES, and SNES games. You see, I never grew out of that shitty aftermarket console phase of my life. Now, I mainly use this
Yeah.
to play these types of games.
When
with
were you
HDMI.
born, dude? I
It's
mean,
actually
you were obviously
pretty
born
damn
in a
good.
time like
Though with the
the
main flaw
1990s,
being that
maybe
all
in a
the
time
games
where
are
that
stretched
was
to
like
widescreen.
a big
You
thing.
ever trust somebody to look like this?
I mean,
a lot of TVs have
I think
features of switch
JonTron
widescreen
was
and
born
back to
when
4x3,
in the 80s.
And if you're using this console to get
Was he?
gameplay footage,
I'm
you
not
can
sure.
always format
I don't
the
watch a
screen
lot of
properly
JonTron,
while
but I know
editing.
for a fact that like
It
he's a
doesn't
big
make it
gamer
less
too,
annoying, though.
and he was
I house
born
most
in
of
a
my
time like
controllers
that.
in this bookshelf here with either just 1 or 2 in a Ziploc bag. That helps me stay organized.
Oh, that's smart. You have
Wires
a
from
that's a
tangling
lot.
up
Yeah, that's a
and
lot of
things
controls.
funky. Now,
Or
the only other game
consoles,
that
whatever.
I have in my living room is my beloved Galaga Arcade 1.
How you have an arcade machine?
I
Of course you
always
do.
wanted an arcade
Of course,
machine.
I should have guessed
Look
that.
at this one right here, the Pac-Man Arcade Party one. I love the old school Namco arcade titles: Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Rally X, Dig Dug, and definitely Galaga. I've always wanted an old school Namco arcade cabinet with either a few or all of these games I fell in love with. The thing is, arcade machines can be stupid expensive, a pain to move, especially into a smaller apartment like this.
My
and
neighbors
tricky
used to have
maintain.
one.
Arcade one
I liked
cabinets
it.
that are specifically made for
They-
at-home
they
use.
moved
They're
it now,
smaller
of
than a
course.
regular cabinet, but
Must
big enough to
have
still
been pretty
feel like an
expensive
arcade
if they.
machine. The base model is supposed to be played while sitting down, but I bought this riser. Is it perfect? No. Is it better
You
than
don't
the
play
actual
arcade. Well, I mean,
machine?
the
Does it
racing
have better
games you do,
controls?
but not
Again,
anything
no.
else.
But everything, in my opinion, is good enough for the $250 I paid for this. And for casual arcade fans who always wanted an arcade-like experience in their homes, it's perfect. Like, yeah, the original machine's quality is way better with, like, the paint and sticks and buttons, but the one-up caps still feel like an arcade machine. Not as good, but it does the trick. It's lightweight, it's easy to move, and I officially have a Galaga arcade machine. That's amazing. It's pretty lame to me that the Namco releases only have 2 games on them each, though. They have like a Street Fighter 2 one and these Atari ones that include more games, but here it's just Galaga and Galaxian. I'm sorry, Galaxian is fine, but you give me the choice between the two, I will always play Galaga, so really it has 1 game. I'm hoping for a Namco Museum arcade 1-up cap, something along the lines of the arcade party machine I wanted. Anyways, let's move over to the meat and potatoes, the cream of the crop of any game room. The game room.
It's a weird way to put it, but okay.
I kept with the Billy bookcases from IKEA, but just like what I did with the TV stand, I opted for this light wood grain style instead of the black. Like I said, the black looks cooler, but it shows too much dust. The modern games start things off. Everything's in very rough chronological order of when the system's released. Like the Switch starts, it then goes to Xbox One, PS4, PS3 next for some fucking reason.
Did you say Switch had like Switch has actual games, game boxes?
Both PlayStation consoles. I thought it fit.
I never played on Switch before. I want to,
though. It's one of my
though.
darkest secrets. I own nearly half of the North American library for this thing. It's something I kind of like whittling away at. I'm not necessarily looking to get a full set, but if I get there one day... Okay, sure, that's what I'll be known for. I own basically all the good games and nearly all the...
You kind of already are. You're a gamer, okay?
Except Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games Tournament. Next shelf, we have Wii and GameCube.
Don't waste your money on that stuff, bro. I mean, you must have plenty of that stuff by now. Plenty. Mario's been around since like the 90s, or 2000 at least. Classic Mario, I heard of that.
Unthinkable and buy it. But overall, I'm pretty content where I'm at. GameCube, similar story. I'm definitely still missing some of the must-haves compared to the Wii, and mainly because GameCube games are just way harder to come by. But I have most of the major ones I want.
No wonder. It's an old console, bro.
Listen, I love both of these consoles, but they're also in the I've gotten almost everything I really want for them camp, and it saddens me. I generally have an unwritten rule with most consoles. I generally pick my go-to platform for a generation, and that's where I buy most of my multi-platform games. Here, it's PS4. Generation before that, it was the 360. Generation before that, it's the original Xbox. This console is great.
Yeah.
It was the most powerful at the time, and on
well,
top
the
of that,
original Xbox were just like, weren't they just like small TVs that like you play like sitting at a table, like a small TV at a table? That's what I used to do when I was like
whether it was playing the NES at my
9 or 10. I remember that. I played original Xbox.
N64 games with my cousins. I just straight up had a Genesis. I love the older games. They're some of my favorites to collect and fiddle around with. NES games are fairly cheap in comparison to the other platforms, especially considering a lot in this collection is just pure garbage. I haven't really delved into the hacks and homebrews market for any system, but I do have the reproduction Nintendo World Championship, Campus Challenge, and Powerfest cartridges for both the NES and SNES. I love these things. They're the coolest to own. SNES games are dumb expensive, so I still have a ways to go. Definitely some key titles missing, and collecting N64 has never been my favorite. I'm in the camp that believes the vast majority of games on the platform have aged poorly or just were never that great to begin with. Some of my favorite games of all time are on this system. Spice your day up. PS2 games.
I'm giving the highlights of this because
I'd always rather play the Xbox or GameCube. Then we have the final shelf area, which is just a bunch of what the hell ever. Afterburner on the Master System, yeah, sure, I don't even own one. Star Fox 64 promotional VHS tape, I don't know where else it would go. 2 Sega CD games, 1 Sega Saturn game, and then an awkward long box PS1 game. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a collection without them. The next shelf, we got all my extra systems or consoles I'm not using right now. Original NES, SNES, the classic editions of said systems, the NES Top Loader, Dreamcast, Saturn, Genesis 32X, CD, PS2, my original PS4, and Wii, plus containers.
I've never heard of any of those. I mean, except for Genesis.
Desk where I work and evade taxes. And that's the current game room. There's a closet.
You pay taxes,
yeah,
cool.
This is basically where all the extra stuff goes. Boxes, amiibo, books, magazines, other random collectibles. There's definitely an argument to be made the closet of extra stuff is more interesting than the actual game room. As it is, I like the room. I don't have to compromise too much of what I want out of a game room due to the space.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. Like, is there anybody who actually stacks games like this voluntarily?
Not really. Like I said, I put my games in like this thing right here. Oh, back scratcher. Doesn't work. I put them in all like here. But these are my old Wii games, which I don't play a Wii anymore. So that's kind of like how I do it. So anyway, so I mean, maybe I could buy a game shelf. I would buy a game shelf if I bought games from GameStop, but I could just buy them on my Xbox One S now because, you know, Microsoft Store. It's that cool. All right, but with that being said, I'm gonna end it right here. I know I think there's still a bit more of the video, and I skipped ahead because it was getting kind of boring at that one part. I can't wait till I can't wait to do longer videos, but I have to enable something right here. Well, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw, and I will see you guys next time.